back to Dean's Dustbin and what we're going to call day 2. So I have started my work week. Occupationally, I get home late at night, which means since I live in town, I don't want to start turning on my machines late at night because I'll probably piss off a neighbor. With that in mind, whatever day 2 consists of, you're going to see a lot of wardrobe changes because I'm going to be doing little pieces here and there over the course of the next 5 days. So where we left off, we had half of the skeleton. I need to build the armrests, I need to build the back brace, and I need to build a few other things as well. So then I can get into the meat of it, which is the cosmetics. So that's kind of what we're doing. So I'll kind of hodgepodge all these clips together and we'll make day 2, however long and whatever I feel it needs to be. So let's get started. So one of the next things I need to do is I need to work on the hand rests here. Unfortunately, I'm getting low on wood and I'm trying to do this on a budget. So what I ended up doing is I needed another 1x4. Well, guess what? I had remnants of the 4x4. So what I did is I took the 4x4, I shoved it through my table saw over there to create a new 1x4. So what I'm going to do now is, I didn't get it quite perfect, so I need to sand it down. But what I'll do is I'll sand it down. I'm going to then, yeah, that kind of shows, place that there as a brace, and then we add in the armrest. Once again, we're using glue and nails. I hate it. But I want to make this thing look like it's about 100 years old. So 100 years ago they didn't use wood screws, they used nails. So yeah. So we're going to sand this sucker down with the hand sander and then we'll get it all cut up and we'll go from there. Alright, once again, we're back to wood glue and nails, but now that we got our little braces here, that means I can take the armrests, wood glue, nails, keeping with the old school aesthetics, and we can finally finish off the at least the bottom portion of the skeleton of the electric chair. It's getting late. I got home from work just a little bit ago. I try not to piss off my neighbors too much, so yeah, this is going to get blended in a day too, but it's what I can do and at least get the wood glue drying. So let's get these arms on and we'll call it a good evening before I upset someone with banging and everything like that, which, yeah, I'm already the weird guy in the neighborhood. I don't need to add more onto it. Let's do this. So the next thing I want to address is this back side. I need to have something there as kind of a back plate for our victim to be in. And what I ended up coming up with an idea is, here's kind of the sketch. So we're going to make that back here. All this has been this entire time is a temporary way for me, as I was building things, to kind of pin it together to make it work. So since this is the principle in our idea, I've already got my boards cut up, and all we're going to do is, you can see I kind of got lines here, and they're faint because I don't want to have to sand too hard. There's a line there. Basically, we're going to start by wood gluing these together, and then I'm going to put a metal bracket on the back side. My goal is to not have much metal, at least modern metal, showing. So that's how we're going to do it. It's going to take probably a day to get the glue dried, so we're going to just build up these suckers real quick, clamp them together, dry them off, go from there. So yeah, this is how we're going to make it happen. While the wood glue dries there, got to clamp together. Eventually, get that sucker in the dead center, another round of clamping. Some brackets, and like I said, we'll get it done and then we will put it right over there on the back of the chair. So now that my back brace has been glued up and we got the brackets on the back, next thing we're going to do is figure out where we're mounting it back here. As I said, this is always just been temporary, so first things first, we remove this. This entire time I've been designing it based off of myself. I am a 6 foot tall, roughly 230, 235 pound man. So I'm basing all my stuff off of this. Now I want this back brace to be roughly at my shoulder height. So right-handed, what I'm going to do is kind of blindly make a mark over here. That tells me more or less where I want this to go. So looks like my shoulder was here, but it's going to be higher. So I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to try it out and see where things line up. Okay, that actually lines up pretty good, and it's going to allow me to do another element I was possibly thinking about, still not sure, but it looks like pretty easy peasy. We're just going to tack this sucker in straight behind me. So let's do that real quick. Now to make things easier on me, I just laid this sucker down. Now we just gotta kind of line it up, figure out where we're going, drive her home. Now, one thing we're going to need down here at the legs is a board across it to where we're going to place the straps for strapping the legs down. Now, I don't know, again, I'm kind of using myself here, so I'm trying to figure out where would be the proper spot to strap down the legs, and I don't really have a right idea. So if I place the board back here, I feel like, yeah, if I had straps here and here, I feel like that's the spot. So I'm just going to make a line here. We'll figure out where it goes, level it off, and hammer it in. And now we got part of our skeleton mostly done. Next thing we got to do is start a little bit of our cosmetics, because I've been waiting to get to this point before I can do certain things. So let's get this stuff going. Now I'm going to need some metal aspects to this build. As I said in the first video, I'm working on a budget. So what we're going to do to get our metal is salvage that fridge door out of the dump. Hey, look. Metal. So what I'm going to do is, I've kind of already made a few notes about what kind of metal stripping I need. So we're going to take a Sharpie, a ruler, and we're just going to kind of get our diagram drawn on there, and then I'm going to take this dribble tool with a cutting bit, and we're going to cut out what we need. So let's do that. I'm sure I'm going to need more metal than that, but those are at least the 3 pieces I know right now. So going to try to basically just cut them out. So here it goes. Find my goggles, get my Dremel tool set up, and I got about a half hour to do this before I got to get ready for work. So let's see what we can get done. Alright, so I'm seeing a problem. The standard cutting blade I got for my Dremel tool, sure, it works, but I just erased an entire Dremel cutting wheel in about 3 inches. So I'm going to have to do one of two things. I will have to find a better Dremel wheel down at the hardware store, or worst case scenario, I call in Uncle Bob. That guy works with metal. That means he has giant grinding wheels and angle grinders and things like that. So we'll see how this plays out. So yesterday we found out that my Dremel tool just wasn't going to cut it, pun intended. Tried to get a hold of Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob was out of town. So I ended up doing, got a hold of Dad. Winted out bigger tools. So we're going to take this angle grinder And that's how we're going to cut up and get our metal strips. So, protective goggles, hair back, gloves, long shirt. Let's do this. And that's how we salvage metal strips. Let's cut the rest of this thing up. So every electric chair obviously needs a brain bucket, right? So I needed to find something. I like to repurpose things. So I went to the local Humane Society's store where you can buy stuff for cheap. And I started looking around. The lady asked if she could help me. I said no. And I was looking for, you know, brain bucket. And out of my peripheral, I can see her. And I look down and I find this. And I'm just looking at it for a second. All of a sudden, just like... And she is getting weirded out as I'm just... Now, so that's how we got our brain bucket. Now, there's a slight problem. As I've stated, I don't really do much work with metal. This right now is beyond me. I need to remove this bottom part. And then what I need to do is I need a hole in the top and holes on the side. Since that is beyond me, that's going to go take a trip over to my uncle's house. And it'll come back and we will be ready to work with it. Alright, so here I am, just got home from a 11.5-hour shift. All you've been seeing in this episode with all these shirt changes, things like that, this is me working before shift, after shift, and so on. So this is going to be the end of day 2. At least I think that's where we are. I don't know, I'm punchy as hell right now. But we got our metal strips. So what I've already done is I got them kind of marked off, but I'm going to need to drill pilot holes for these things. So we got one set for there, I got a set for here, and I got a set for here. And then the last set is going to be for down, oh man, we can't see. All right, well, see what happens when you're tired and you're trying to do stuff. Perfect. So down here for where your legs are going to get strapped in. The idea of the metal is to be the quote-unquote ground for the victim. So we're going to just tape this up here. And before I can drill the pilot holes, I also have to factor in roughly where I think I'm going to be putting the straps down here for the legs. So let's just gonna show some leg. I know, dead sexy. And I feel like in a position, this would be where my legs are. So I want to drill one more pilot hole about, call it here, and we'll call it here. We'll call it here. Actually, now let's go farther down. Call it there. And we'll call it here. And now we know where the pilot holes need to be in the metal for when we add the straps to this scenario. And what that means now, so I'm going to head over to Mr. Drill Press. I'm going to punch out those pilot holes. And then when we come back for the next episode, we'll be ready to rock at the next stage. So this is the end of episode, I think it's 2. Yeah, like I said, punchy. Of Dean's Dustbin. I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you do like what you're seeing, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification, share with your friends. If you want to catch me weekly, you can go check me out on Redneck Cooking with Billy Ray. That's my other channel. And we will see you on the next day of the build. Later.